Jackie Stewart was in Macau, but not as a competitor. However, that didn't stop him getting back into uniform to try out the circuit for himself. There was no doubt that Stewart seemed sorely tempted to take part in the Race of Giants, but he says that when he retired from the World Championship scene, he promised never to race again, and Macau was to be no exception. For all that, his tryout round the tortuous 3.8-mile circuit turned out to be every bit as dramatic as some of his adventures in competitive racing. Flat out along the seafront, the cars approach a fast right-hander that bends around Macau's big reservoir. Our bend is a trap for the unwary. Watch Jackie and the white car followed closely by Bobby Unser. It's a miracle that Unser was able to stop. Jackie was unhurt, but he said that it was the worst accident he'd had since his crash at Spa in the early days of his Grand Prix career. Later, I asked him what had happened.
I made a mistake.
What happened? How did that mistake occur?
I misjudged the apex of the corner. The car went in sideways. It got into some very loose stuff. The car just turned over, did a neat roll one way, spun round at an end-over-ender, and I think I might have got, if not a bronze, certainly, I think I would have got a silver in the Olympics off the high board.
What do you think of this circuit, Jackie?
Oh, a very unique circuit. If this circuit were to be, let's say, cleaned up a little bit, widened, and the safety precautions put in that would be necessary for an absolutely modern Grand Prix track, it could surely be one of the best in the world. It has the unique situation of places to pass, and that's unusual today. Even with a Grand Prix car, you could get past in a couple or three places. Tremendously demanding, 3.8 miles around, 17 corners per lap. A lot of them very blind. It reminded me a little bit of a mixture between the Nürburgring and Monte Carlo. And really, you couldn't ask for better credentials than that.
Into Moorish and up the hill, and look how Brabham's trying. Jackie Ickx through the hairpin. He's beginning to leave them all behind, including Hans Hermann, who is way back in 11th place. A very different story from that fantastic dice they had at Le Mans. Lap 8, Ickx at about 100 miles an hour coming into Statue Bend in front of the Lisboa Hotel. And behind him it's Brabham now in second place, ahead of Moss. Gurney's fourth, Unser fifth, then Halm and Hailwood. Now there's an even bigger gap at the top of Hospital Hill as Ickx goes into Maternity Bend. Jack Brabham, 3 times world champion driver, leading Stirling Moss, the man who never became champion.
It was really fantastic, actually. I don't think I've driven a race that's been so competitive and so near as what that was. Everybody was pushing and shoving one another, and it was just unbelievable.